They were more than roommates, more than friends. They called each other sisters. So how does a bond that close end in one of them being strangled to death on the living room floor? By the time police arrived, Shameria Mimi Fletcher was already gone. And inside that same home was the one person who should have protected her best friend. This is a story of a friendship that turned fatal, a relationship built on trust, but allegedly fueled by control, manipulation, and obsession. And a question that still disturbs everyone who hears it. How do you not see the danger when it's living right beside you? Shameria Fletcher, known to friends as Mimi, was described as kind, supportive, and dependable. The type of person who shows up for you. The type of person who takes care of people. And that's exactly what she did for Morea Range. Their relationship wasn't casual. They lived together. They spent most of their time together. To outsiders, they seemed inseparable. But sometimes, the closest relationships hide the darkest dynamics. According to testimony later presented in court, this wasn't just a friendship. It was far more complicated. Witnesses would later describe Range as controlling, possessive, emotionally manipulative. There were claims that she tried to isolate Mimi from others, that she wanted her attention constantly. And then came the most disturbing allegation, that Range faked medical emergencies, including seizures, to keep Mimi focused on her. Imagine living with someone who constantly needs you, who makes you feel responsible for their survival. That kind of pressure doesn't just build, it traps. Prosecutors would later argue that Range depended heavily on Mimi, financially, emotionally, completely. She reportedly had no stable income, didn't contribute equally to household expenses, and Mimi kept supporting her. Because that's what she did. She helped people, even when it cost her. March 2nd, 2022. A normal day until it wasn't. Inside their Atlanta townhouse, something happened between the two women. Something violent. According to investigators, Mimi suffered multiple injuries, signs of a physical struggle. And then, the fatal act. She was strangled. Not instantly, not accidentally. Strangulation takes time. It takes pressure. It takes intent. At some point, Mimi stopped breathing. And just like that, a life ended inside the home she shared with someone she trusted. Police were called to the scene for a person down. When they arrived, they found Mimi unresponsive. No signs of life. EMS pronounced her dead at the scene. The home, once shared by two best friends, was now a crime scene. Investigators began piecing together what happened. The autopsy confirmed what they feared. Cause of death, manual strangulation. Manner of death, homicide. That meant one thing. This was not an accident. It was intentional. And there was only one person inside that home who could explain what happened. Six days later, police arrested Morea Range. She was charged with murder and aggravated assault. The case was moving fast, but the real story was just beginning. In court, prosecutors laid out a chilling narrative, a controlling relationship growing more intense over time, until it finally snapped. They argued that Range beat Mimi, then strangled her to death, and that the motive wasn't money or revenge, it was control, a fear of losing the one person she depended on most. But the defense did a very different story. Range claimed the incident happened during playfighting, that things got out of hand, that she did not intend to kill her. But the evidence told a different story. Strangulation is not quick, it's not accidental, and the jury knew that. After hearing all the evidence, the jury reached a decision: guilty. Morea Range was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Mimi Fletcher's life was taken by someone she trusted, someone she cared for, someone she lived with. Her story is one of kindness, but also a warning, because sometimes the most dangerous person in your life is the one you feel closest to. This case leaves behind uncomfortable questions. How do controlling relationships escalate this far? When does care turn into control? And how do you recognize the warning signs before it's too late?